Hey, what's going on? ¿Qué tal, mi gente? This is episode number 96 of Latino Vegano. And today I want to take a break from all the success puzzle topics that I've been talking about the last couple of weeks. And I want to take the time to answer a few questions. But actually, I want to answer one particular question that I've been getting a lot lately. And I get a lot of this question from friends, family members, clients, and so on and so forth. So I want to be able to start answering a lot of these questions because I think a lot of people can benefit out of the content. So first of all, I want to say thank you guys for always subscribing to the podcast and for always giving us a thumbs up when you watch these videos. And at the same time, whoever is listening to the podcast as well, for giving us the opportunity to reach out to you guys. So today I want to talk about how to start a vegan diet the right way. Well, basically how to start a vegan diet. Okay, so let's go.
Bienvenidos a Latino y Vegano, un show donde se habla todo lo relacionado sobre el veganismo entre la comunidad latina. latinoyvegano.com.
Beans, rice, plantain, salad. You kind of keep it with a staple meal, but you strip out the meat, which is a big part of the culture. So for me, it was a very simple transition because it was just a matter of taking some of the meat out. And I know a lot of people might say, well, in their journey, they'll share like they were like big meat eater. But me in particular, I was actually a big meat eater to some extent. Meat is part of our culture, like I mentioned before, and I ate meat in pretty much every single meal. So because especially protein source, right? That's what everybody keeps saying. So it wasn't not like I was not like a meat eater, or I didn't like meat. It wasn't, or I was sick in that sense. I was from fairly young. You want to put it that stance. So and I was an athlete. And I always been an athlete. So for me, I was like in a state of my life that there wasn't really any big need for me to like change my diet, So for me, it was mostly just following kind of like a friend that I thought it was cool that he was not eating meat. And at the beginning, it just started like me following a trend. But then it turned out to be a little bit more than that, which I'm going to explain to you guys later why it was a little bit more than that. But the one thing is like, I do remember that when I turned vegan, and I had shared this story before, but I'll share it again. It was I talked to a friend of mine, which for months he was not partaking in any of the activities that we were doing, especially eating pizza or eating burgers and stuff like that, because we were really big into burgers back then. Well, a lot of people still be big into burger, but like I was saying, I was sharing a lot of experience with this friend of mine, and he was not eating any of the food. So I kept asking like, why are you not eating this and why are you not eating that? And he basically told me like, listen man, if you want to know why I don't eat certain food, you really have to do your own research. I'm not really going to share much information about it. You really have to make your own research. So he forced me to kind of like research about the meat industry and all that stuff. But he did give me one book called the Michaelis Diet by Dr. Herbert. And I read the book, and the book always talk about a lot of the reasons why we develop the sickness that we develop is because of the food that we digest. And so the book talks a little bit about that. But for me, it was too technical. I'm more of a hands-on type of person, and I'm more of a visual learner as well. So for me, that much technicality didn't really do much for me, although it was a really important information at that moment because you had to have the science behind it to kind of make this step. But for me, it doesn't really make any sense. I know for some people, having the science is what like triggers. But for me, to me, that wasn't the trigger factor, basically, right? So, like I was saying, I had this conversation with this friend. He forced me to research. So that research led me into finding a lot of PETA videos. And for those who don't know what PETA is, PETA is one of the main, if not the biggest, animal rights activist source in the whole world. They're big, especially in Europe and North America. So they're really big. And they actually in the Latin community as well. They have a lot of campaigns related to that. So I doing my research. When you research veganism, a lot of the stuff that you'll get back then, this pre-internet, it was related to PETA. So you really definitely had to get a lot of your resources from PETA, which is a great source to have, especially if you are the kind of person that needs to have and see that kind of that visual, right? So so in that sense, I started watching a couple PETA videos. So for those who know what PETA stands for, is People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, right? So as you can tell, it's an animal rights movement, and they have a lot of campaigns, a lot of videos, and all that kind of stuff. So shout out to PETA. And I was one of the people that actually got influenced by PETA. So with that said, I started watching a lot of PETA's videos, and that's actually what's triggered me, right? So for some people, it might be health-wise, or the food, or any other source, right? I have friends that it clicked by knowing about the environment. What is the biggest cause of carbon footprint is animal welfare, right? Is animal agriculture. So for some people, it's that. For others, it's like health-wise. You know that one of the number one causes of death is cancer and diabetes and all these diseases is the food we eat. So for some people, that trigger. For others, it's like, the mistreatment of animal. So it depends on what's really what gets to you, what's really the cause that actually creates the bigger impact, and then that's what actually triggers in that movement. And for me, was that. So once I saw those videos and I was exposed to that, I was like, nah, I had to make this movement. I had to convert immediately. For me, it wasn't like, I had to think about it. For me, it was like, no, I'm just gonna go vegan tomorrow, like right now, basically. So I switched everything. I stopped eating animal product, and it was just as radical as you want to call it, right? I just switched it right there. I didn't sit on the spot, basically. So like I went vegan, cold turkey, no pun intended, like a lot of people always say that, right? So it was a no-brainer for me, because at that point in my life, it's like I do not want to be involved, be part of anything that had to do with mistreating people, mistreating animals, mistreating the environment. So for me, it was like a right away switch. So I didn't really have to think about it. So anyway, so basically, so that would lead to me to turn vegan. And once I did that conversion, at that point, it was a matter of kind of figuring out the whole food, whatnot, what I'm gonna eat, what is this now, what is this gonna be with my life, and so on and so forth. In that process, I lost weight. My body was detoxing, so it was a rough transition to some extent, just because of that. I was lack of information, it was lack of knowledge. I was just driven by passion. I was just driven by a mission, right? But it was one of those things that I would never regret, because being so consistent in my lifestyle allows me to be consistent in other aspects of my life. So I always say that the animal saved me. I didn't save the animal. So I did the transition, went vegan, and then from there it was just a matter of kind of figuring stuff out, eating better, figuring my whole life, what I'm gonna eat, and so on and so forth. And a lot of the things that helped me during that transition are some of the tips that I'm gonna give you guys. I have been able to compile like different type of tips, or different type of suggestions, or things that I recommend you do when you transition to veganism, especially of course for new vegans, because those are the ones that actually helped me during my whole journey, these 20 plus years. I know if I would have done these things earlier, my transitions would have been a lot smoother, right? I wouldn't be in a position where I didn't know what to eat. Like I would have been straight up knowing what to eat and how to eat it. And the same way is probably I wouldn't be feeling so sick or whatnot, because I would have done all these different things that I'm actually gonna share with you guys. And I think this is like the right segue to kind of bring those things in, about talking about how it will be easier for you to transition. So to answer that question is how to start a vegan diet and then write basically how to start a vegan diet and how to start to write. I will give you 10 tips or 10 things that you can do right now to start your vegan journey and then be as successful as you could be. And I want to start with number 1. For me, this one is one of the most important one, if not the most important one, is that you need to have a why. Basically, you need to have a reason. Why do you want to go vegan? Like, what is the reason? And the reason why I said this, and I have talked about this many times, is because I feel like the stronger your why is, the more committed or the better off you're going to be. Once you're committed to something, it's because you have something that is pulling you, is driving you. Let's say you're an entrepreneur, right? And you really, really want to be successful in an XYZ business. So you have this passion for that thing, right? You really want to provide a service and you really want to help people. You want to be the benefit of that. So that passion that is driving you to do it is going to allow you to stay consistent regardless of the moments. There's going to be moments that the business is going to go up and down, but you have this passion, this worthy idea that's so big that you're going to stay with it regardless of the situation. With that said, I would feel like you need to have a strong why. Why do you want to go vegan? Ask yourself that question. For me, my reason was, I do not want to be participant of any animal exploitation ever. So animals are not for me to be using them as shoes or as food, as entertainment. There's no way I'm being part of it. So I'm going to go vegan because I do not want to be part of that. So that started with my food, the way I dress, the things I wear, the shows that I watch, and so on and so forth. So I decided to go vegan because of that. And that has been my why all these 20 years. And it was going to go beyond that. Because since I already have a strong why, there's no way you can tell me anything to try to make me go away from my belief, right? Because my why is strong. So for me, you have to have a strong why even before you start going or thinking about going vegan. So that's why I always say you need to find your reason. And that reason has to be strong enough. All right. So tip number 2 is you can start slow or you can start fast, depending on your personality. So I'm giving you 2 advice in one. Why is that? You can start slow, you can slide fast. I'm really the type of person that I like to go. I don't like to wait, right? So doing this transition for me was a fast transition. Once I made my mind, my reason was strong. I had the decision. I made the decision. I take decision. Successful people make decisions, and they make decisions quick, but they hardly change their decision, right? So that's exactly what I did. I make a decision, make up my mind, and I made the decision, and I went for it, and I committed the decision. So you have to see what works for you. Is you're so one that are more of a slower paced type of person because you wanna go step by step or whatever it is that you need, then go slow, but don't take to a point that you get too comfortable and then you don't keep moving, you don't keep progressing. That's all I always say. So start slow. Maybe you can switch your diet, or you could go vegan 2 days in a week or once a week, then you go 2 days, 3 days, and so on and so forth, and then you start changing. Maybe you go vegan during the weekend, and the weekend you're more flexible with the way you eat, however you want to do it. But the key here is that if you start slow, you continue progressing, because that's how you're going to get to success, is you're going to keep moving. So you can start slow or you can start fast, depending on your personality. Okay, so that's my second advice. My third advice is to hire a coach or a vegan coach, or find help. Either you can hire someone like a lifestyle coach or like a vegan lifestyle coach like me, for example, or anyone else. There's tons of lifestyle coaches, especially vegan lifestyle coaches that help you transition. I know from fitness expert to just nutritionist expert. I know tons of it. If you go to my podcast and you find several episodes, I have so many friends of mine that I interview that actually help people in this transition as well. So you can pick whichever works with you, has your personality and whatever the case is, and you think you're gonna get the most benefit. But hiring a person or having a coach or finding a buddy, a friend that has the experience, that has the time, that has the passion, that have all those tangibles in them, then it makes a big difference. Because now you don't feel like you're alone. You don't feel like you're just doing this on yourself. You feel that there's a support system. There's someone that is gonna answer your questions, that's gonna lead you, is gonna help you. I didn't have that when I started. My friend provided me the basic information, and anytime I didn't have a question, he was available. But I didn't have someone that was like sharing for me or encouraging me to continue, my journey, because basically it was a self-driven journey. So if somebody can help you and guide you, there's not much different to like if you go to the gym and you have a personal trainer that is pushing you, showing your workouts, and no, versus just like, oh, I'm just gonna go to the gym with myself. You know what I mean? And like if you don't have experience working out, you're like, oh, what do I do? What machine do I start? But if you have a coach or a personal trainer, he or she is gonna lead you, guide you, is gonna encourage you, is gonna give you all the different details, how you work out, all the different things. So that makes a big difference. So if you have the opportunity to either find a buddy, a friend that has the experience in the field, or has been as vegan for many years, or do you have a higher coach, go ahead and do it. I think that you're gonna find a lot of value out of that. Okay, so number 4 is you want to start eating food that you're familiar with. I think a lot of people make the mistake that when they switch their diet, especially to a vegan diet, they want to go like all food raw, or they want to go like I'm gonna go whole food plant-based and gonna eat like quinoa and I'm gonna eat all these superfood. I'm gonna have hemp seed, and there's no protein shake, and I'm gonna remove all these different things. Now I'm gonna eat as clean as possible. And I feel personally, if you're a person that's just getting started, like you just like trying to figure this whole vegan thing out, I think the best thing is to find food that you're familiar with, because the better you find food that you're familiar with, the more you're gonna stick to it. And then once your awareness starts increasing, when you start learning more about it, then you can start talking about, let me go ahead and diversify and learn about more about the nutrition part of veganism. Let me learn more about eating whole food, plant-based, quality food, organic food, and all the different things. But if you're just getting started, I highly suggest that you find food that you're familiar with. So I'll give you a perfect example. So let's say one of the things that you like doing is eating chicken nugget, right? You can find that same presentation of nugget in a vegan version, right? And then find those and eat those, and then find the ones you like, and then eat those and incorporate it to your meal, especially as you're transitioning. We always use the word transitioning because it's that period that you're starting you're starting to figure out that you want to eat vegan, and then you started changing your meals, so you can start changing your meals to more plant-based meals, right? And then you start doing that transition and then start cutting the meat, starting cutting all the different things little by little. So when it comes down to that, then you want to start eating food that you're familiar with. And once you start eating those food that you're familiar with, it's going to help you a lot to kind of smoothly transition into a whole food plant-based diet or to a more healthy diet. So trust me, start with those that you're familiar with. Start with food that you ate before and you just keep eating. So like if you do ice cream, do vegan ice cream. They're actually absolutely good. Okay, so number 5 is educate yourself on the nutrition part of vegan. Then aim for learning about other aspects of veganism. So the reason why this is kind of long is when I say learn about veganism from a diet standpoint. So like, you want to be able to know what to eat, what food to eat, because a lot of people always think about, okay, if I took the meat for protein, how do I replace that? So there's several lists out there, and I can provide you with this if you need to, of like vegan protein. Okay, there you go. You can find a lot of this food and you start incorporating in your meal. The one thing I want to tell you about protein, I think this is the perfect time to talk about that, is that, so basically there's no protein deficiency. You're hardly going to find someone in the world that's going to be deficient on protein, because basically there's protein in the majority of the food that we eat. Mostly people having issues with nutrition because they eat way too much protein. So protein is important aspect. It's important food for our health. Yes, it is nutrient for our health, but it's not something that you're going to be deficient of. What I mean with this is like, for example, a banana has protein in it. have 1 gram of protein. So if you eat 20 bananas, you're eating 20 grams of protein. And what I'm saying with this is like, it's hardly you're gonna find food, really good food, especially whole food, plant-based food, because it's so nutrient dense. There's gonna be lacking on nutrients, especially protein. Now, if you want to amp your protein for some reason, you mean because you say you're an athlete or you need protein or whatever it is that you need, there's tons of food in the plant kingdom that can be protein. For example, beans have protein in it. They're also high in carbohydrate, but they also have proteins on it. So I'm saying you're eating beans, you're eating protein, and you're eating carbohydrate. So you're not gonna be deficient in protein when you eat plant-based and whole food plant-based food, because it contains protein in pretty much every single plant-based food that you eat. So you're gonna be fine with that. But at the end of the day, you can find a lot of information when it comes down to protein and what is it like, the sources of protein. But what I was saying about step 5 is that you gotta educate yourself on the nutrition part of veganism, because the more you know about vegan nutrition, you're gonna be able to manage your way into like, oh, okay, what is it that I need to eat, or how does I need to eat this, and what about if people start asking me this question, you're gonna learn more about that. And once you learn more about nutrition and veganism, then you can start learning about other aspects of nutrition, other aspects of veganism, other aspects like animal welfare, and then you want to talk about also you want to talk about some aspects like entertainment, and you want to talk about the environment. So you start tapping into also other fields. So you want to start there. Number 6, eat a well-balanced food. For the fellas, make sure when you eat, you get feel full. And then for the ladies, make sure don't scared of eating carbs, because a lot of people are scared of eating carbs, fruits, nuts, seeds, and all these different things. So potatoes and all that. So what I mean to eat a well-balanced meal food is a lot of people, especially this, you see this a lot of, especially in the Spanish culture, is that you see that a guy marry a woman, and then the woman is the one that cooks, and then she cooks the food for the whole family. But when she feed the guy, she feed him whatever she cooked. And sometimes we as men, we require more food. We do a lot more physical work. Sometimes we just want to eat to feel full. So with that said, it's like, lady, if you're gonna feed your man, make sure you're eating a well-balanced meal. Put a good sense of carbohydrate there, because that gives us energy, especially the good carbs. I'm talking about good carbs, because that gives us energy. Put greens, a lot of greens, and then put proteins too also in that plate. Make sure that you balance that guy's meal. And ladies, also make sure that once you're eating your meals, focus on your carbohydrate, focus on your greens, focus on your protein as well. Try to make it as balanced as possible. But you might not eat it in moderation or whatever it is that your goals are. But the point is that make sure that when you're eating that meal, eat a well-balanced meal. And for guys, you gotta feel like you're eating real food. So eat more. So eat a lot. Don't worry. Just eat. Just eat the food that you need to eat. It makes yourself feel comfortable. Make sure you feel good about it. Number 7, find the food you like and stick with them. So I earlier talked about eating a well-balanced meal, and then you say about nutrition. But one thing that I like is like I don't eat all the vegetables in the vegetable kingdom, right? Like I'm very good in kale. A lot of people know that I love kale. A lot of people know that I'm big into spinach, broccoli, and all the different vegetables, right? So these are pretty much all vegetables that I eat. Like I stay with it to certain vegetables, right? I don't try to dab into like all the different type of vegetables out there. Same way like this. I like brown rice, and I like sweet potato, and I like potatoes as well. So I don't try to like get all these different things. Like if I something that I like, I continue eating the same thing, right? I continue eating that food. I might change a little bit into like the way I prep it, but the point is like I keep eating the food that I feel comfortable, that I love and enjoy eating, because I love those food, right? And they make me feel good. So why try to like try to experiment and eat every single meal out there, and that you might not even like some of them. Try different spices is probably the better way. So I always advise to like, if you find food that you like, keep eating those food, right? Because you're gonna enjoy those, and then it's gonna make you feel good, and at the same time it's not gonna make you like hate other food, like hate vegetable or hate whatever, right? So number 8 is research the junk food that are either vegan or accidentally vegan. What do I mean with that? So a lot of people like that when they transitioning, especially for people that are transitioning. They have no knowledge or they have no knowledge about nutrition. They have no knowledge about eating right or eating the right food. But what they did is like they used to eat a lot of junk food. They used to eat a lot of like cookies and ice cream and all that stuff. So don't use that as an excuse to go vegan, right? If you're gonna go vegan, and then there's vegan junk food as well. There's vegan cookies, there's vegan ice cream, there's vegan donut. Find those food that you like, right? Find those food that you like. Eat those food also, but eating as a vegan presentation too, right? Eating as a vegan, eat those food as vegan. Cookie, chocolate, all those food, eat as a vegan. And then now you don't have an excuse like, well, I can't go vegan because I love this item so much. And it's no, I guarantee you, for every single product out there is a vegan version of it. Every single thing. I have not seen or found one thing that is not vegan yet. So maybe in your area it's not accessible. Maybe in your country you can't find it. However, I encourage you to search before you even consider that it's not possible, because there's a lot of small businesses that sells a lot of vegan product because there's a niche for that. And second, you might have an opportunity to actually make it your own self. So those are my two advice when it comes to that. But find those vegan items that you used to like. Basically, if you like ice cream, find the vegan version of the ice cream and incorporate it to your eating. That way you don't feel like, oh, I'm missing out on stuff, because I heard that a lot. Oh, I'm missing out on food. No, you're not missing out. Every single thing that you can find the vegan. So you don't miss anything. I do not miss anything. We'll never miss anything. Plus, my wife's vegan is stronger than anything else. So I highly recommend that. Number 9, eat a vegan restaurant. You check out vegan restaurant. Vegan restaurants are amazing. I'm right here in Panama right now. Panama City, Panama, my hometown, right? Panama City. And you will be mind-blowing how many vegan restaurants are there. There's even a whole 100% vegan, plant-based bar and karaoke place. Well, they're more like a bar and they're like a bar and stand-up night. So basically they play music at night, improv. And no, it's not improv because it's not a comedy place. It's a bar, and they also have it's like a lounge. It's like a bar lounge, basically. 100% vegan. All the food in their menu is vegan. It's amazing. I could never imagine this. So shout out to El Sótano. That's the name of the place. El Apartamento y El Sótano is the name of the place. Shout out to them guys. And they're not getting sponsored with them, but it's cool to know that there's places that are 100% vegan. And this is not the only one. There's food truck. There's restaurants. Natural Spice. Awesome place. Shout out to my friend Marco right there. He owns that restaurant. It's amazing food. Such a wonderful flavor. Shout out to Cult Revenge, Sol. Yeah, I have so many friends out there with vegan businesses that is like Planticeria. They made their own vegan protein. They made their own vegan meat. Planticeria, shout out to them as well. So what I'm saying is, like, I'm in a place that is not even the biggest vegan friendly on the whole world, but we're still doing our thing. And what I mean with that is, like, you have the opportunity to find a lot of good vegan meals in different places. You just have to give it a shot, give it the opportunity. So I encourage you to eat a vegan restaurant because they have a lot of good stuff. And last but not least, start looking for recipes and getting books about veganism. There's going to be a point that you will have to start learning how to cook your own meals, meal prep, and do all these different things. It's just very, very important that you learn how to cook. At least the basic stuff. I'm a guy, I like to cook quick. I don't spend too much time cooking. I like to make a few things that are quick and they're still delicious, and it's healthy for me, and then go on my way. I train, I'm a bodybuilder, I'm a pro classic physique guy, I'm an athlete. So for me, eating is very crucial, very important, but at the same time, it's eating quality food, because I eat for strength, I eat for endurance, I eat to feel full and to feel comfortable and to maintain my body a certain way. But if you don't have the regimen, then you have to make sure that when you're eating the right food. So learn how to cook, find recipes. There's tons of recipes online. There's tons of vegan books out there. Find the ones you like, start making some of those food. That way you start learning how to make the food. So I want to end this episode with this message for you guys, especially with the first thing I say is because I want to be able to guys to know have a better journey than the one I did. My journey as a vegan for 20 plus years or 20 years has been amazing. I would not change it for anything in the world, right? But if I would have all these different things that I mentioned to you guys, I would have such a more successful journey. But I don't regret it. But now, what is that? I have the tool to make you be successful, to make you health transition, to help you to start your vegan diet right now with no flaw, no hesitation, and you can be successful. So I want to end this episode with that. And remember, guys, everything starts in your mind, and once you put your mind into it, it's going to manifest. I want to give a shout out to my mentor, Bob Proctor. Man, we want to miss you, but I appreciate all the knowledge, I appreciate all the messages. Your legacy is always gonna live between us. So I'm gonna dedicate this episode to you, Bobby. All right, guys. So see you guys next time. Remember, love, peace, and vegan. Shout out.
Gracias por escuchar Latino y Vegano, un show donde se habla todo lo relacionado sobre el veganismo entre la comunidad latina. No olviden suscribirse a este podcast, seguirnos en Instagram, Facebook, YouTube y a visitarnos en latinoyvegano.com.